Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino here tonight as the Dundee flag is at half-mast after a tough episode of Deal or No Deal Island for us here tonight. We'll break it all down, our continuing coverage of a double elimination on Dundee. Here, of course, back with us, the great Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
Rob, I am an animal lover, but tonight I do feel like I could punch two kangaroos. One for Sael, one for Dr. Will. I'm pissed. I'm not okay.
Yeah, they look so friendly.
Yeah, apparently they're not. Actually, I feel like I have heard that that they're super aggressive. I'm upset. I'm upset, Rob. And if I have to take it out on the kangaroos, then I feel like I can't do it to David.
No.
So I got to find something else. So that's where we're at tonight.
Okay. All right. And then, of course, back here with us, it's Chappell. Chappell, how are you?
I'm feeling great. I'm 10 beers in, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I got to catch up.
The perfect night for this.
What were we supposed to do, man? We lost an icon, a legend, a star, and Dr. Will in one episode. What the hell?
Yes.
It hurt, and then it hurt.
Dr. Will retired from reality TV tonight also.
Listen to me, David. How dare you? How dare this man say, like, you're welcome, America. Not my America. Not my goddamn America.
He doesn't know America.
Back on my TV screen. You just got here. You don't know.
You just got here, David.
No, was this... Okay, well, even if this wasn't the intention of David with that statement... Does this perhaps work as like reverse psychology? Because if Dr. Will didn't hear this some other way, don't you think he hears this coming out of David's mouth? And now he's like, I am not going to retire to spite
Unretire.
Unretire.
Yeah, make it like one of those Tom Brady retirements.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He's retired, but he's not retired. You know, like if the money makes sense, I feel like we could drag him out. But y'all, it felt so somber. Rob, our legend has finally hung it up, like for good.
I don't know. I don't know. Not like this. Not like this. I say. Okay. But we'll talk about it all, and then also, I mean, what a deal or no deal Banker's Temple sandwich we had tonight. Or actually, I mean, the sandwich would be if it was like in the middle of the episode, and this was the bread. But either way, that we sandwiched in this episode 2 Banker's Temples, and we had Sael, under normal situations, probably would be considered a blindside by many.
Yeah.
She was in such a good position. And listen, I'm not here to pat myself on the back. I don't take any pleasure in any of this.
Yeah.
But God damn it, what I said last week was right. Because if Will had just grabbed the case for Sael and kept her safe, I think last week goes very differently.
None of this would have happened.
They might both still be here. Okay.
Yeah.
That was
she was too smooth.
You don't need to throw the challenge when the throwing is helping someone you actually want to help.
Mm-hmm.
And Will, I love you. And this isn't all your fault, but I'm having all of the what ifs of him just grabbing the case that he could have taken for Sael last week.
In fairness, Deal or No Deal Island lives rent-free in your head. You break down all the scenarios. That's why you're incredible on the podcast. But that's just, Will's not giving it as much thought as you are.
I think that is probably better for his life and anyone else's.
His mental health.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have an exit interview coming up tomorrow, but one exit interview. So we'll have an interview with Sael, and to my knowledge, Dr. Will is not speaking at this time.
He's catatonic. This really broke him. He's got to revamp his whole little situation, because he was Dr. Will. We had all been waiting for him to come back for reality TV. We thought first Dundee, then what's next? You know, like where does he go from here? And he said, "I'm retired." And so let's just give him some time.
Maybe he retired from interviews.
Yeah, let him chill for a little bit. Maybe just give him a few weeks. He might come back.
Does this count as breadcrumbing? Like, did he just like,
yes.
But like, if the breadcrumb was like a massive loaf of like bread in like the form, you know, and then it's like, you know, it tapers off and you'll never have another taste. I don't know.
So if and when there's an opportunity to talk with Dr. Will, we will jump at the opportunity, but we will keep you posted if and when that next opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
But excited to talk to Sael. Like, again, this is like a very, very upsetting, you know, for us to lose 2 people in this episode. And I really like this cast. Like, I love this cast. You know, a lot of these eliminations have been very difficult. The double punch, the double kangaroo punch here tonight, it's rough. But the silver lining is that we will get to talk to Sael tomorrow. So that'll be nice.
Okay.
Lit ass player, entertaining, way too smooth. Jenny and I, we've had a side pot going here on, you know, about because we've been saying low key. We thought Sael, we just knew she was gonna take it. So this one hurts a lot because we really thought like, all right, at least Sael ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And we are just here. We are stunned.
We knew that Dr. Will was, you know, he was living on borrowed time. It was gonna hurt no matter what, but we knew, and you know. This is like we were really riding the Sael winning narrative, Chappell and I. And so this is really tough.
I don't know who's going to win. Somebody's going to win a lot of money, and it's down to just 7.
Yeah. Which is crazy because, you know, last season, I don't think we could have picked the winner last season. Like at this point, the winner was still hiding very much so. I think she might have had 3 confessionals by episode 7. So now I'm looking at this cast and thinking, Lachelle, you know, I mean,
Lachelle is the only one who has like the Jordan level of edit now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they're doing some wild stuff in this episode. They're gonna have to switch up all the alliances and stuff. Things are about to reshuffle. So maybe she'll, you know, end up, you know, kind of standing out now that things are scrambled up a little bit more.
Well, this was a night where everybody was shook, and let's talk it through because we just had like bomb after bomb go off in this episode of Don D. Yeah. And so, all right, we picked things up where Philip got called out by CK, and he says that CK has lost her whole ass mind. CK does apologize to Philip.
I'm sorry for upsetting you, Philip. I was like, all right.
I think she started offending, which I was like, I don't know how it was offensive. I think it's just you pissed him off.
Yeah. All right. Will brings up that no, Maria Grace went home because CK wanted a deal.
Facts. You know, the MG plan was throughout the entire, like the outside of the family alliance, the Lumberjacks, but they use CK to do their dirty work for sure. She is a part of this and she's complicit and she knows it. And so she feels like if I air this out now, there'll be heat on everybody and not just on me.
Okay. So ultimately, CK is going to take the deal. She doesn't want to luke them. She has a high value case and a low value case. And ultimately she's going to take the deal, and she opens up her suitcase and it is a good deal. She had was it the 250? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And ultimately she's the first person to ever beat the banker twice.
A stat I wasn't aware of. Does it count if you, one of the, you know, beating of the banker was a team effort with Lachelle?
I think so. Yeah. They count that.
Okay, because I was like, record. 1.5, but give Lachelle her win too. But yeah, two of them is impressive. Last season we saw Aaron go up against the banker twice, and he wasn't so lucky the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now CK has to make her decision, and she sadly eliminates Sael.
Yeah, it became pretty evident, I feel, you know, watching the temple play out last week that if she was going to make a good deal, I didn't feel very good about her, you know, sticking to the original plan of getting out Dixon, especially seeing, you know, the reactions of Philip and Letty, like Letty saying like, if you stay, I'm coming for your head.
Yeah.
There's no way you're working with those.
You know, at one point there was a lot of friction between CK and Dixon, and it looked like that even in last week's episode that she went after him. She put him into the bottom, but I think you have to give credit to Parvati, who has been able to like stay on the right side of CK. And even though CK was like working with the other people, Parvati's been able to bring her back.
Yeah, they've had a good relationship throughout the entire game. Parvati's been kind of pushing her out in front as like, oh, this is the person you should be mad at. This is the person, but then also being able to really and say, man, I can't believe they're acting like this toward you. This is wild. And so with CK airing everybody out, yeah, Dixon would be right there, an easy target, but she's not going to go against the family, you know, because if she goes against the family, I mean, she's still just hanging out doing the counter alliances dirty work. And so she has to now be ingratiated. As Jenny said, she's the new MG.
Right.
Yeah.
Sael is going to roast CK.
Now look, Sael was so quiet throughout all the trash talking in the Banker's Temple. She's sitting in the front. She's not saying a word, you know, because she like, look, it's bullets whizzing by. Let me just make sure I stay out of the fray in case CK like, oh, you got something to say? You can go. And I'm thinking, okay, she got away with it. She snuck by. When she names her, I was just like, oh my God. But this is the moment I have been waiting for all season, because we saw this in the super tease. We saw this in the previews. We saw this in the trailer. I have been dying to find out who on this cast has a flat ass.
Nothing but a cheat with a flat ass.
Hey, she said what she said. I'm going to ask her tomorrow in the interview. Did you mean that? Do you stand by that? Is it that flat? Let's find out.
Do you does a person store their integrity in their ass?
Oh,
and
right.
Perhaps like that's, you know what I mean? It's like, does this become like a metaphor of like, you know, being a cheat is also, you know, synonymous with having a flat ass. So it's like,
in my
you got to store the integrity in the cheeks.
Yeah, I feel no. I think that is those two things are not related.
So you feel like people with fat asses be cheating?
I think so.
I think so as well. I think so. I think
wow.
I think so as well. This is the ones with the junk in the truck, the ones that be dragging that wagon, Jenny, the ones with all that back there. Yeah, them the ones that you gotta watch.
This is thick ass slander over here.
Jenny, the song said it best. Don't trust a big button to smile. Okay, that girl is poison.
Well, I also heard that fat bottom girls make the rockin' world go round.
Okay,
that's true.
So I don't know what that really means.
So we've heard it both ways now.
You can cheat and make my world go round. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. See, look, CK has integrity. We just haven't found it yet in this game. I think she left integrity at the door, and she's here to game.
Which is fine. Okay. Sael said, I would have ate you up.
Yeah.
And then she tells Letty to eat her up.
She did. Eat her up. Get her.
Yeah.
Eat her up.
Okay.
She said, I would have won. She's like, I would have got you. Look, Sael was proving to be one of the strategic powerhouses in the game. Like, she was behind the MG vote in a large way. She's always been like, hey, I can't work with the family like that. Like, she has never been, you know, a lot of times we watch these shows and we get the sheep, you know, that they fall in line, they get led to the slaughter. And Dondi is one of the few shows where consistently we have a counter alliance. Like, they're not going to just go down without swinging. And Sael was probably the face of, you know, this other side that was just like, nah, I'm not going to just take this one without a fight. You know, I'm here to make waves and to make sure that y'all don't beat me in this game. So it's probably not the worst move in the world to take her out.
And this is where I, you know, both compliment Sael and kind of not necessarily defend CK, but kind of support, you know, what CK is saying in that, like, she threw everyone under the bus. Yes. That is a problem. However, I feel like some of the other people were kind of painting this as like, no, CK made a deal. This was her trying to save herself. When really, no, it was the masterminding of, you know, seemingly Sael taking the reins here and being like, okay, Will faces the banker. He gets rid of CK because he doesn't like CK. That's not really great for us. We need to get one of these family members out. And so we have to make the deal with Will to make sure that he takes out MG instead of CK and make sure CK is on board with that too. So that, you know, we need her as a number. So really, it wasn't like this was CK's idea. CK didn't go to Will and say, hey, can you get rid of MG instead of me? This is my plan. So this really, this move did have Seychelles' fingerprints all over it. But as her allies, Philip and Letty, are like speaking up at Banker's Temple, being like, this was you trying to save yourself. Seychelles can't pipe up and say anything. She's the one person in that alliance that's like vulnerable here. She has to keep her mouth shut. It's a really rough situation where like, an incredible move really comes back to bite you in the ass here.
Let's talk about after the Banker's Temple. We have another night of fireworks. We've had so many of these so far. Parvati was so thrilled and tickled with what CK did, getting everybody worked up.
Yeah. CK said there are snakes and weasels, and Parvati's like, she destroyed like never seen before. CK is pulling everybody out of hiding. Philip can't hide anymore. Letty can't do her moral high ground thing. Like, it's all out there. Let's play the game.
Yeah. Okay. So I love this moment where CK is like, all right, let's talk about everybody's game. And Letty like drops something and Parvati's like, oh, nervous, Letty?
Parvati is poking at some of these people, especially Letty. Like, I feel like multiple times during that Banker's Temple, like there was the point where she was like, oh, like, don't act like you're so much, better than us. You literally just said that you were going to like, take CK's head off. The dropping of the plate. Oh, a little stressed, Letty. Like, Parvati is leaning really hard into this, like, push the girls' buttons. And it's really fun to watch, to be honest, because I can tell Letty's been trying to, like, play with integrity. I'm the nice girl. I'm just super athletic. I'm playing a super honest game. She's having a hard time holding back now, and she's starting to like give it back to Parvati. Like, the girls are fighting.
Yeah, Parvati like kind of like loudly under her breath goes like, "Ooh, this doesn't sound like you got that much integrity now, does it?" Like she would wait on Letty to say anything. She's like, because Jenny, I think you pointed out correctly. Letty has been playing like, I'm doing what is fair, what is right, this, that, and other. And now it's like
she was horrified when CK looked in the bag.
Right, like I just don't play like that. That was like I would never lie. And then Parvati like, it sounds like you've been lying. Sound like you've been lying. Sound like there's some other stuff going on. But okay, girl, you got it. She just, like I said, just poking the bear.
Okay. CK has something to say to almost everyone. Dr. Will says, sometimes, that you calling out people actually makes you look worse than the people you're calling out.
Big Brother 101. Don't call a house meeting.
CK has no regrets.
I mean, I don't think this is a bad move for her. I really don't. I think CK was expendable. She didn't really have an alliance, and she was out here being the fall person for a lot of the stuff that was going on. She also was kind of cheating a little bit. So, this, like, hey, don't look at me. Look at everything else. Like, that gets that off you. And then you also can now slide in with the family. And of the family, you're not the biggest threat. Like, if they're going to come after somebody, they could come after CK. But Parvati and David are right there.
CK has a lot of this turmoil going on, but I did feel like at this moment, like I feel like for Will, I'm like, everything is looking great. Nobody's complaining about Dr. Will right now. Everybody's talking about CK and Letty and Philip, all these other people. Nobody's like, who we got to get out of here? Dr. Will.
Except for David, because I mean, as we saw, David said he still didn't really believe that any of these people were behind the MG elimination, and he still had his sights set. He's like, this is all Dr. Will.
Yeah.
So, but you're right though. Like that, by causing this chaos, you get people that have been making nice with each other for most of the game really start looking at each other and throwing jabs at each other. Like Philip and Parvati's relationship was already getting pretty shaky, and it's fully awkward now at this point. Obviously, like the stuff going on between Parv and Letty, CK versus multiple people, and that's why it was like a high risk, high reward move for CK, because she saw herself, not in a great position on either side. And, she does this, pisses off a lot of people at her, but it also causes people that are not bad with each other right now to have to start looking at each other. And it increases the chances of there being more firing going on. And now this could work out poorly because she could still be expendable to some of these people. You know what I mean? Like the way these groupings work out with who is safe and who isn't, that could still be bad for her. She could still be at the bottom of the family here. However, high risk, high reward. So you got to go for it. If you feel like you have no path to win, like cause a little chaos. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Dixon and David having a chat, father-son conversation. I do wonder how much in David's mind, Dr. Will bringing up the Australian Survivor thing. Because we hear David also in confessional talk about that. He needs to keep this a secret. He can't let anybody know that he was on Australian Survivor. Although he is like very much flirting with disaster when he asks Dixon about how he thinks he would do at Survivor.
Yeah. Do you think this is him like kind of trying to read the room a little bit, trying to like kind of get the temperature on? Did Will tell you anything?
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
or does Dixon know?
I don't think Dixon knows because it sounds like David's like, I can't let this get out because the target on my back is going to get so massive that I'm not going to be able to hide it. I think he's kind of just like, so Survivor, you watch it? Dixon's like, yeah, it's like, you watch Australian Survivor? Like, no. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, cool.
Yeah, I think that more that he was just like feeling out that, okay, Dixon knew who Parvati was. So like he's like, how big of a Survivor fan is this kid?
Right. You've been watching the international version. Do you know shitting this?
Yeah. You're not a Robin's podcast patron, are you?
Right. We do happen to know who those people are.
You don't have the links for Australian Survivor, right? Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is like a dangerous game, but I suppose that if Dixon is someone he really trusts and he's worried about them finding out, another way, or at the end of the game when he's really put in a lot in these relationships, this is his way of kind of gauging. And if Dixon does say like, yeah, I know who you are, then he at least has the opportunity to be like, I had a feeling and I wanted to tell you, and that was my way of doing it. Like, at least then you can kind of spin it to be your idea. But just putting it out there, just putting the idea of, hey, is there an Australian Survivor and would I be good at it? Like, now it's in people's head.
Yeah. Speaking of Dixon, what is he about to do? Because this is a weird spot that he's in. Thinking about this, his number one ally is David. Number two ally is Parvati. Is this your final three plan? Like, sir, this ain't it. You gotta be ready to flip,
season
baby.
1? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, if I'm Dixon, I'm looking at CK like, hey, look.
Lachelle.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if he can get to Lachelle. Like, I don't know if he can get to Lachelle. She's playing like the super floater game right now. Like, I think she should be looking at him for sure. But just like as he's insulated, he's like, I kind of need y'all to take out the family, but not me. Just take them out. Doesn't like, how do I get safety so that when y'all start shooting, it's got to be one of them because he can't do it. He can't sit there and take out Parvati or David because that's one less shield that he has. He needs other people to take out his shield, so he's not wasting his chances, eliminating
good point.
The people who are blocking him. He's in a tight spot.
Yeah. All right. We see Will with Letty and Philip, and they're talking, and they've got a pretty good alliance. It seems like they're all roommates, and they're talking about getting ready for the day. Letty says Dr. Will isn't even so bad all the time. Look at him. He's doing great.
Social game.
Yeah. He's won them over. They hated him. And now he's won them over. But here comes Parvati. And Parvati is getting on their nerves, is asking, like, so, Philip, doesn't seem like you want to talk too much today, huh?
Philip
was so relatable in this moment, though, in that when, like, he was already going down this road with Parv. Like, I think that, there had been like a few things, little things down the line that were really starting to rub him the wrong way. We obviously saw, what was it last week with the comment about Will would have been one of your bullies, how that really pissed him off. And obviously how everything unfolded at Banker's Temple. I think that he can't look at her the same. And I find this so relatable that when someone has wronged you and like has hurt your feelings or has really just like pissed you off, like it's really it can be really hard to like, you need a minute to like be able to turn the fake back on. You know what I mean? And I think that like that's what it was giving to me, where it was just like, we're clearly not the same. I'm aware of this, and you have come back to me the next day acting like nothing happened, and I can't do that. And so his version of doing that is just kind of keeping quiet, because he's like, I'm trying to not do what I did. I'm not trying to tell you that you need to go underground. Like, so I really found this relatable from, this is like a truly human moment where he's like, I know that I should be faking it for the game right now, but I can't. Mm-hmm. Why are you in my, my tent right now acting like we're besties? Like, what is this?
He said, I'm not wearing my I'm a dumbass bitch t-shirt.
Yeah. I need that shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I do not need that shirt.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you people. Look, here, my question though is Parvati kind of poking at him, or is this her just being like, I can separate the two? For me, it kind of comes off like Parvati's like, yeah, in the game we're kind of at odds, but like we were cool, right? We're friends.
She's taunting. This is Parvati taunting. So? If she really wanted to like be cool with him, she would pull him aside one by one. Yeah, this is Parvati like, so Philip, I noticed you're not very talkative today. Mm-hmm. Like, this is Parvati's troll game.
Which is also crazy, because why would you troll somebody who might have the opportunity to play the banker and take you out? It's like, you don't really know. This is prior to the immunity challenge, right? This is not her sitting there like, well, I'm untouchable. If you're untouchable, do your thing. But in just a few hours, they're going to be a banker's temple, and Philip could very well be the person in that spot saying, Parvati is you.
She might be looking for a big reaction from Philip, and then she can sort of play that like, wow, Philip is crazy. Wow.
Yeah. That reaction.
All I did was ask him that why he wasn't talking today, and he totally went off on me. Wow.
Yeah.
You could even see it in her reaction, like when he said, I think I did enough talking last night, where she was like, okay then, well, like, you know what I mean? She was like, he didn't even, all he said was like, I think I did enough talking last night, which obviously speaks volumes. Like, he said so much with that statement and the energy behind it that like it got the message across. But even her reaction to that, she was like, okay, well, I guess I will be leaving then. I will see you guys in a little bit. Like, you can tell that was the energy she was kind of giving out. She's looking for a reaction for sure, right?
Okay.
World War III is afoot. World War III. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully just on Dondi. Okay. Let's talk about the next excursion. We've got something special planned for the latest winners, Letty and CK. This actually turns out to be a pretty huge deal that Letty and CK are put into the team captain positions.
Yeah, because Dr. Will has already concocted a plan to like help out with his new alliance. The lumberjacks and Jills that I've been calling them, the ones that are here to take out the family tree. He tells them, hey, if I'm teamed up with CK, I'm just gonna throw it. She'll be in the bottom. I'll play the banker, or whatever, and I can take her out or the family out. But like, I'll just throw it for whoever side we're on, and then y'all can just make sure that it's not me who goes home. This is foolproof as long as CK is not in a position to get immunity, and then get to the captain spot, and now she's in a position to get immunity. So it kind of ruins everything.
Yeah, this really started off as Will's dream scenario. He's like, okay, I've got this little alliance. And they're a little worried. They're going to be on the same team. We can split into teams, keep them safe, and I get to throw. Like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
They want me to throw.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a game that was designed to test integrity, which everybody jumped on CK for. And
sword in the ass.
Yeah, they had the menu. They could send people out to go do the things. Do you feel like that the players should have had like a little bit more information in terms of like what case to bring back? Or they only had to go off of like, what case would my team captain tell me to go get?
I think that's a good point, because let's say they've all decided that CK is a liar who cannot be trusted. does each of them just ignore what she's saying and just go grab a random case? Because that doesn't help them at all. And there were moments where Dr. Will obviously is throwing this. He's trying to come back slower, but he doesn't know, okay, if I come back slower and CK takes immunity, then I've screwed up because like we're going to lose and she's going to be immune, which is the worst case scenario. And he can't find the best case scenario. Like he doesn't have another option. It's like, listen to her or allow her to do something that he can see coming a mile away. Like Dr. Will knows. He knows. He called her a Muppet. He's like, that Muppet is going to take immunity. That's what she does. And she did. And there was nothing they could do to stop it. And so unless it's just do everything at random, yeah, you're right. I don't think they had enough information to kind of counterplay against the team captain. This was a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're David and Dixon, who were the other two, runners on CK's team with Will, like they're thinking, okay, I think, and I don't know if they had any conversation after the Banker's Temple, but you got to think like, okay, if CK is going to work with anyone, she's maybe coming back over to us because I'm pretty sure she torched that bridge with Letty and Philip. So if you're David and to maybe a lesser degree Dixon, you're probably thinking like she's probably got to try to work with somebody here. I assume she's probably giving us good information, but yeah, Will rightly clocks that he's like, and it's screwing up his own plan because he's like, I want to throw. Like, why are you ruining this for me? I only want to throw if you're vulnerable, and that's not what I want here.
Yeah, Will gets the worst of both worlds where he ends up in a situation where he is vulnerable, and then also CK, the captain, ends up getting immunity here in this challenge. Jenny, do you remember how they did it in last season? I remember there was the time where like Aaron had to like sleep over at the Banker's Temple.
Yeah.
And then he was like directing everybody to go pick up the cases. And it was a similar task where he had to go assign people what case to bring back.
Yeah, that was one person with like all of the information. And again, it was kind of like a similar point. Like took someone who was at like a volatile point in the game. Like that was a point where like, Aaron had taken some heat. There was a point where we thought he was going to leave the game. Then he gets whisked away shortly after that. And it's kind of, similar in that Letty and CK, like it's kind of like if they had made CK the Aaron in that case, not quite the same, but yeah, he knew what all the cases were. But this was obviously different because it was two people with information and they both had the ability to make themselves safe. And also the rest of the players knew that. Whereas I think last season, only Aaron knew that there were certain cases that could help him. And I don't think that the other players had any idea that that was a possibility.
Okay.
So, I mean, perhaps this gets played differently if people don't think that there's a chance that their captains could end up safe. Like, I don't know. Does Will start just doing different stuff if he doesn't realize that CK could potentially be safe? Does he properly throw and just do the opposite of what she says? I don't know.
The thing is, CK sent him to go get out a high case.
Yeah.
I think it was the second highest is what she assigned him to go do. And so he had no choice but to ultimately just like, okay, let me just go with it.
Yeah.
And then you've got like the levels of like thinking where you're like, is she trying to fool me? Or like, what do I want out of this? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was really no way to tell because it wasn't like that you got assigned for, individually, like the case that you brought back was your case in the game, that she would try to potentially give Will a bad case. So there was no way to deduce that it was just Dixon. I guess that she sent him to go get a close case, and that was the one that was 0. But I don't know how he would get out of that was going to be the safety case for CK.
And it wasn't even the closest one. It was like 2 down because Will even says it to her. He's like, should I be getting the closer ones? Like, if we move faster, we can get all 6 quickly. And then that way the other team will be down a couple anyway. Like, like they could beat us by getting the bigger ones, but maybe we get a bunch of little small ones. That'll work. Obviously, Will's going to say that and then go out there and take his time and let the other team catch up. But CK doesn't even give him the opportunity to do that. She goes to Dixon and just says like, hey, I got you. Just go get that one. But again, she's so transparent. Like nobody was shocked that CK took the immunity here. Everyone knew what was happening. She's a gamer. I think she right now, like her social game has got her into trouble. Her back's against the wall. She's not here to make friends right now. She's going to be trying to get safety every chance she gets.
Her alliance this week is with her, she said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, real.
It comes down to Lachelle and Dixon in a race, and not since Boston Rob and Amy have we had such an exciting foot race out of the jungle on Dondi.
Yeah, definitely like the same level of of my investment in the result. I was still figuring out like, okay, because again, I should be wearing the I'm a dumb bitch shirt because I'm like, why does it matter?
Can we put that merch out?
Yeah, can we get that? Why does it matter who comes
bitch
first? And then I didn't realize that like you could, the first team that gets 6, they get 6, and presumably the other team has 5 or less. Because I was like, well, doesn't it just matter how many, like what's in your case? But no, like if you have one less case, you will have significantly less money. You might think.
Yeah,
you might think.
I think. Unless there's 0 in one of those.
All right, so we open up the cases, and very quickly, the Letty team has $10 million.
Yeah,
we open up.
Solid number. No.
Yep. Nice round number. Yeah. Okay. Better than 999,999 that we're going to see later on in the episode.
That's a decent number too, though. You know, it pays off.
I take it.
Yeah. All right. Dixon has the $0 case for Team CK. They get $8.75 million. Letty is the winner again for the 3rd week in a row. She's going to choose who plays the banker.
Now, did anyone actually pay attention to what case, like what, I guess, did CK tell Dixon what the value was, like the supposed value of the case that he was going to get? Like, if it had been a true case, is there like no scenario where they lose this? Like, I'm thinking probably, right? I don't know what the values of some of the cases were that were left.
Well, yeah, with them coming with 6 cases, it would have been pretty tough.
I feel like they had to have.
Yeah, it would have been pretty tough to lose this without the 0. I think that because they were sending people out far, you know, they were going for the bigger cases. I at least have to assume that because it's going to take you more time to get them, right? So it seemed like they were sending everybody out far, and then Dixon was the one. She was like, hey.
Was this kind of a prisoner's dilemma between Letty and CK in that, like, okay, if one of them went for the $0 case, that they were going to automatically be safe, and then ultimately if they both did it, so it was like, if the other person's going to go for it, you're going to be safe anyway. I don't know. I'm just trying to think through the strategy of like being the captain. I wonder if you're better just to like just go for the high cases.
Yeah,
I guess it's a 50-50 then.
Well, that's it. What everybody was saying is like everybody else would go for the high cases because just win it and be immune and keep your team immune because it's a team. Like this is a team round. CK is like, I am a team of CK. So I am going to make sure that if I don't do anything else, I'm going to get that 0 case. And then, you know, if we win, we win. If we don't, hey, y'all, that's y'all's business. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
And I also think CK, especially now, is very aware of the kind of player that Letty is. And, you know, I don't think that she ever expects Letty to be the kind of person that lets down her team in order to save herself, especially, you know, some of the people that she has on her team. Like, obviously, like, no love lost between her and Parvati at this point, but like, clearly Philip is her guy, and I assume she has a decent relationship with Lachelle as well. I think if you're CK, you know, especially based on the reactions to like the integrity stuff, the cheating and all of that, like this is a team sports kind of person. You know, Letty's not going for that $0, like that safety case. So it's like, you might as well get it for yourself because you know she's getting her people to come back with big value.
Dr. Will says CK is disgusting.
He is so funny. And here's why. This man would definitely have done the same thing. In that there's no world where Dr. Will in that situation would be like, I'm not getting the immunity. I'm going to like, stop it. Dr. Will wants that immunity. This it's like playing a game with Dr. Will is like understanding that it's okay when he does it. When you do it, it's a problem, right? He talking about CK's lack of integrity. She's a crazy Muppet who has no scruples and all this other stuff. Dr. Will, we have watched you play Big Brother twice. And we've watched you play 6 episodes of Dondi because, damn it, you skipped 1.5. And you have been scrupulous, like to this point. Since when do you get on their high horse and be like, I just can't. There's honor amongst thieves, and this is just too low for me. Really, William? Okay, Bill. Since when? Bill. It's rich coming from him. I'm like, Dr. Will. I love Dr. Will.
But I don't know what you're talking about. This man is a physician. He's taken an oath to do no harm.
His original nickname before he was the evil Dr. Will, it was just Dr. Evil. Season 2 of Big Brother, they were calling this man
a beloved character, Chappell.
Right, and an evil one.
A dad to Scott.
If an evil person calls you evil, are you that evil? Or then, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have to start squinting and be like, but coming from you? I just felt like I understood where he was coming from. CK has thrown it all away and just said, F it. It's me versus y'all. I'm going to figure it all out. And Dr. Will, he's not in a recognized game situation. He's kind of like, how dare you? And then at the end of this, he calls them all the most sanctimonious people he's ever met.
Yeah, most self-righteous people.
Yeah. I'm like, Will, do you not hear your confessionals? Do you hear yourself? Get off of CK's back.
Now, okay, here is a thought. Is it more so that Will just doesn't like that she's doing like the selfish, self-motivated stuff and like not in an entertaining enough way for him? Because like that's the thing is like he will do this stuff, but he's going to like make a show out of it because it's like, I'm also trying to entertain myself, but we know that he cares a lot about being entertaining, like doing the ridiculous thing to make good TV. And is like some of his criticism of CK is that he's like, she thinks that she's like this big like TV character and she isn't. And like, is that what really is pissing him off? Is like, you're doing like the villain stuff, but like not even in a fun villain way. And that's what's driving him crazy. He's like, I would do this so much better.
Yeah. He even, you're right. Cause he did say something to the fact like, she thinks she ate that. It's like she did. Give her credit. He refuses. Will's not. He's not.
She's doing it in her own way, but he's he's like watching with like his like notepad and being like, I would do this differently.
No,
I have a few notes for you.
No style points for CK for sure.
Yeah, CK is creating a lot of drama, but she's not having fun doing it, and that's really the key to being a villain.
Yeah.
Right. I don't. That's the key to being a villain that we love to hate, right? Like a villain that we love, like that we support, because there are the villains, right? And I love these villains too. The ones who are like, what am I doing? I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm just running. Like I love those villains. The ones like, you left me no choice. I had to be villainous. So I don't know. It's just like, Dr. Will is a specific type of villain. He's the villain that you're like, he's doing it, but he's winking at the camera. He's kind of bringing you in on it. Whereas CK is like, oh no, I was put in this position and I have to act like this now. I have to be a villain. I have to betray all of you. You left me no choice. Yeah. Feel bad for me, I guess. It's
my back's like against the wall. What do you want from me?
What do you want from me? Right.
And both can be very fun villains, but like, yes, different flavors. And sometimes one can be really frustrating for certain people to watch. So, but I mean, I think that there's room for both. Like, give me multiple types of fun villains. Like there's room for everyone here. But yeah, if you're one type, I can definitely see like looking at the other one being like, I'm a villain, but I'm not that kind of villain.
That kind of villain.
After the excursion, okay, we are starting to figure out, okay, we got to figure out who's going into the temple, all right? And David tells us he's in the bottom with his nemesis. Parvati says, Mom is safe, but Dad and baby are not.
She's got a family to take care of. She can't allow this to happen. She was not okay with David, like, potentially playing the banker. She's like,
she doesn't want to be a widow. She's a black widow, I thought.
Yeah. That's your brand.
Yeah. Anyway. So David talks to Will and they bond. Wow, CK dogged us so hard. And they make a deal. And it's Deal or No Deal Island. Looks like, hey, this is a deal. Let's go. Both of us. Let's just take out Dixon.
This is when I knew, y'all. This is when I knew it was done. I knew this is the kiss of death. I was like, David did not just make a deal to take out Dixon with Dr. Will. Like, do you see how hard he's taking the MG thing? This is not good. This is never going to stand.
Why did Will agree to this? Why did Will agree to this?
I don't know. Why did Will agree to this? Why did Letty trust this? Like, I have so many questions.
I thought Dr. Will wants to play the banker.
I told y'all it was a sham. I told y'all this man was lying. He want to win. He wants to win. He don't want to get no. He wants to win.
But it's so much screen time.
He wants to
win. I have to feel that this is like 100% one of Will's biggest regrets of and maybe he won't say it is, maybe it's better for him to frame it as no regrets, but I have to imagine, like, not just being results oriented in that, like, how this turns out, but like you went against the one thing that you like were so firm on through this whole game. You wanted to play the banker every single time, even when you didn't have to, even when you might have been in a good situation otherwise. And this was the time where there was another person vulnerable that you knew you couldn't trust. And the other person that was one of your targets before all of this other mess happened. I don't know in this point why he did not fight. He was in an alliance with the person deciding who would face the banker. This should have been the easiest time for him to get into that banker spot. I don't know why he didn't do it. I don't know why.
It was definitely the move. It was the move.
It was the move because it's just in playing the percentages that if you're playing the banker, worst case scenario, you're going to end up with a 50% chance to win. But there's lots of times when you could have higher than 50% chances to beat the banker. I think the odds are better against the banker. We talked about you want to ultimately be safe. If you can't be safe, play the banker. And if you can't play the banker, that's the worst place to be, of being up for elimination where it's riding on somebody else has at least a better than 50% chance to eliminate you.
Yeah, and it's two people who would definitely eliminate you. It's like, it's David and Dixon, the family that you have been determined to tear apart. They're sitting right there.
Dixon a weasel.
Right. They're the only two options. It's not like, maybe they'll get Lachelle. It's like, no, it's you. You're the only viable choice here. So he has to make the deal with David. Like, if he doesn't want to go in, but like, you should be up there playing the banker right now.
Well, make the deal, but then go to Letty and say, I don't trust his ass.
The deal's not the problem. They tell Letty, like, put me, and Letty's his person.
Yeah, and he didn't want to do it.
Unless, like, somewhere on the cutting room floor is like him going to Letty, and Letty's like, no way, under no circumstances am I putting you, Will, into the banker's temple. I can't make it make sense.
He was afraid to play the banker and lose. He didn't want to lose. Going up against the banker is hard. Dr. Will tried to make it look easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then when it was time to do it again, he couldn't. He didn't have it in him. Dr. Will, you let me down.
Is there another explanation though? Is there anything else that makes sense?
I don't know, because what I'm struggling with is, in what universe does Letty believe that David would actually, like, take out Dixon? Like, she must have just been like, well, let's really hope that David makes a bad deal, and if he does, okay, we might lose Will tonight, but like, Will would want to play the banker in so many other scenarios. I just don't understand how at any
David
point you believe that he takes Dixon.
Like, really convincingly? Did Parvati like, oh my God, David's going to eliminate Dixon? Like, this is horrible.
Nah. Because Dr. Will should see through that. There's no reason that they should have been able to snow him and let him believe that he would not be the target here. He didn't want to play the banker. He didn't want to play.
Who hasn't missed?
The banker. No,
So Chappell's take is that it was Will was happy to not play the banker.
If he wanted to play the banker, he would have gone to Letty and say, "Put me in," and Letty would have said, "Okay." If I don't, here's the thing: Letty could use Dr. Will as a shield or as somebody who she could use down the line, maybe who could throw some challenges, but not if David or Dixon win against the banker. You have to let Will be the shooter here. We've talked about it. He didn't want to do it. I'd imagine he was probably a little tired of these people too. Is
that it?
He's like, then I just
does he look like he's having
It's been
fun?
real. Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's having fun.
He was sick, I'm sure.
That could be part of it also.
I ain't making too many excuses for this man. If it was anybody else, we'd be like, "You idiot! Why didn't you play the banker?" Dr. Will, why didn't you play the banker?
Well, 2 questions. Why? I'm gonna, because I'm mad about Sael still. You should grab that freaking case for her last week. Why are we throwing in that scenario?
Her. Yeah, what was you doing?
Yeah. And I really do hope we get some answers at some point. Because I don't understand. What did David do to these people? Did he put a spell on them? Because I still think that Letty should have been pushing back on Will, being like, at least if you play the banker, then you're in control of who goes home here. And we've got 2 people where we want them. We want David out. We want Dixon out. They're both in the family. This is our best shot. Like, you play the banker and you're in control. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't know.
She should have vetoed this. She should have said like, "No, you're going in because I said so." What could he do?
The conversation between the 2 of them, like, it seemed like right before Temple when they were getting ready, it almost seemed like Letty came to Will and said, I think I'm gonna get David to do it. Like, he said he'll take out Dixon. And like Will's like, okay, but do you believe him? And she's like, I do. And like didn't question it further. That conversation to me felt like this was more Letty making the call, and then they're just like, I guess we'll just trust David, this person that we've had no working relationship
Can I
with.
throw out one other idea? Is it possible that David and Will like had a good conversation? Will's like, okay, I believe David. And then David goes home to Parvati, and Parvati's like, you're not eliminating Dixon, idiot.
Yeah. My child?
Do you think that there was a point where...
And you eliminate Will. That's it. Case closed.
I don't think you're giving David enough credit. David was never going to honor this deal. He was never going to honor this deal. Dr. Will sitting there like, oh yeah, take out your number 1 ally. Don't get me.
But at least in David's confessionals, and I don't know, it's TV. David's not like, excellent, Will, you're playing right into my plan. And like that. David seemed to at least earnestly in his confessionals be considering working with. Like, he's like, yeah, I love Dixon, but
He had a quote from a couple episodes ago. He said, "I'm the only one in the cast with the balls to take out Dr. Will, and given the opportunity, I mean." Kind of have to put up or shut up.
The edgic. Yeah. And I mean, but there had also been confessionals where David said, listen, Dixon's my son, but like, if
not my real son.
It's like, I got 4 actual kids.
Yeah.
So
is his birthday even on the 18th?
Yeah. Like, so it's hard to say. There's also, something to be said for, and I don't think that this was a thought process that David ever had, but you could rationalize for a second. David goes, this guy Dixon, he showed how cold-blooded he is. Like, he's playing off this sweet little guy, my son. I think that he has the ability to, take his parents out at some point. And as much as I don't trust Will, I do believe that when you make a deal with him and you, live up to your end of it, you at least have a ceasefire for a little bit here. And he will be a bigger target in front of me than Dixon. I don't necessarily think that's a correct thought process. And I don't necessarily believe that David entertained this, but an argument could be made there where it's like, Dixon is the guy that you let slide by and then he stabs you in the back, whereas like, I know what I'm getting with Dr. Will, the devil I know sort of situation. I don't know, But yeah, I just truly never, like, I know that they had to edit it so that it left it up in the air, but like, I'm watching this conversation between David and Will, and I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no way. You're taking out Dixon.
Okay. Well, David and Parvati, they have one last talk. Parvati's like, I can't be a widow. You're not playing, but yet he will.
This was kind of romantic, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting very romantic.
I'm
it's not like sensual, but it's very much like, oh, like
that little hug between them. Like I was just like, I feel like I need to look away. Like I don't know. I was so conflicted watching this. I was like, this fake island relationship is like almost feeling a little bit too like real.
It's just, like they've clearly bonded, and it just feels like her husband was going off to war. Like, babe, don't go. She's like, I gotta serve my country. She's like, well, which country? I thought you were Australian. So yeah. She didn't want to see him go. And then also, if Parvati's a gamer too. She's like, if he goes, oh God, people are really gonna be coming after me. Like, dear God, like, please don't get eliminated. I need you in this game.
But here's the other thing. When David comes to Parvati before he's about to go off to war, he tells her, I'm gonna face the banker. And she says, no, Will should face the banker. And that I thought was interesting. Why wasn't she saying that Dixon should face, like, if you don't want David to be at risk. Mm-hmm. If you don't want David to be at risk, why was she trusting Will to play the banker more? Like, she thought that the odds.
They are scared. They're not playing the odds. They're playing scared. They don't want to play against the banker. They look at it like it's a death wish. You're about to walk right off the side of the boat. Y'all stop trying to rationalize these people. They scared of the banker.
Haven't more people made good deals than bad deals at this point?
That's what I was thinking. I think
so. Do you think that means that like the pendulum is about to swing back? Is that the thought process here? Somebody, Christian Hibiki, let us know if that is like playing into anything here, where it's like the fact that there have been more good deals made.
I don't think that's it, but I think that you can, like, the board can be in your favor, and so the worst you could ever have is 50%, but sometimes you could have like 75% or 66%. So I think that just playing against the banker, you have like a 50+% chance of getting it, which is not horrible odds. So yeah, you might be a little bit more safe, maybe, but you might as well just do it. I mean, it's not me in there, so it's easy for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, like, I'm trying to put myself in Parvati's head here, and I'm like, wouldn't Will facing the banker just be the worst case scenario? Like, because we saw last week, she like figures out what he wants to do and is like, I'm not letting you get the satisfaction of being in the bottom when that's what you want. Like, I'm going to save you. Wouldn't you think that, like, if David is at risk here, if there's a chance David could go home, don't you want it to not be at Will's hands? Don't you want to rob him of the ability to have the satisfaction of eliminating David here? Like, yes. Yeah. The risk of David facing the banker and making a bad deal and going out, terrible. But worst case scenario is definitely Will facing the banker, making a good deal and eliminating David.
It's a good point. And also, like, David playing the banker, I feel like Parvati has a little bit more agency, and it's like, okay, what do I do? Like, it's like Price is Right. Like, no deal. Hey, you keep going. Like, so she can like weigh in a little bit on what he should do, who he's going to send out. So yeah, I think that David should have played the banker from Parvati's perspective.
I think everyone was a little drunk this week. I don't know. There were some weird decisions being made here.
It's TK's power. She stirred the pot. She blew everything up, and now people are doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Okay.
You're right.
All right, let's get to the banker's temple. David plays the banker, and David is entertaining when he plays the banker. He gives us some fun stories. He picks number 7, his a coveted number during childhood sports. Number 7.
Lucky number 7.
Okay.
7.
He's fun. He's like, here's the thing. The numbers, whatever. It's cool if there's a story. But he was having fun with them. And also, I just felt like he was he was pumped up in a way where, like, he didn't come off nervous at all. Like, he looked like he was having a good time. And that made me have a good time. It's fun to watch people having fun,
Yeah.
Sevens be having fun. It's what they do.
Yeah.
David was doing pretty good if this was normal Deal or No Deal. He's actually doing quite bad for Dondi, but he ends up knocking off a penny and 5 for that he picks 2 because he punched 2 kangaroos once.
Yeah. I've never punched a kangaroo. It seems frightening, actually.
I feel like they would punch back.
Yeah, they're mean.
Hard.
Right. They could kick or something. I just don't want a part of that. But David,
and then they put you in their pouch and they said,
kidnap you.
Baby now.
Yeah. David don't got no pouch. So I take my chances with David if I have to fight somebody.
Yeah.
I would let David put me in his pouch.
Whoa.
God.
I don't even know what that means.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Like, just I think it would be fun to have
what do you mean?
carried around. Well,
what does that even mean?
Rob said, "Whoa!" Like,
but like, what's the implication? Like, whoa, like his pouch. And by pouch, I mean,
I don't know.
It's best to not even explore it. Leave it
like,
to the theater of the mind, Chappell.
With like the pocket, like I would sit in the pocket. He's a big guy. I'm like 5'3". I can fit in a big pocket.
Fun size, pocket size.
I forget I said anything.
Okay. We'll delete this part out of the podcast.
Well,
we will
perfect.
not.
Yeah. I know you won't. I know you won't, Rob. You're lying.
All right. All right. Let me send Sam a note. Okay.
Okay.
All right. He knocks off a penny. He knocks off $500. He gets the $2.25 million, but knocks off $1,000. Offer number 1 comes in for $200,000. Not a player's board. 5 cases or higher. No deal.
And 200K is kind of low. Like, what are we doing?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Never take the first deal.
Especially if that's the first deal in the board.
Right.
Like that was probably the easiest decision of any of the games so far.
Okay. He opens up 4 more cases, 2 more low values, 2 more high values. Okay. It's $650,000 offer.
Yeah. This is where he said he could drink 10 beers at once. And I was like, I'd like to see that. And so David, if you're listening, hit me up. Let's find out.
Okay. All right. The banker calls, and Joe seemed to imply that the banker was saying, basically sounded like the banker wanted to go in David's pouch.
Guys, I have something to admit. I am the banker.
Jenny!
Banker. Yeah. Joe says the banker talked about she wants to spank you.
I didn't say that. Yeah, the banker is wild. Like that's what I'm saying. I think like everyone's on one this week.
Y'all think David be getting spanked? Ain't nobody spanking that man. That's a big man.
I mean, you might accidentally. He's really tall. Like
you might just trip and fall into it.
Yeah, you're just like you go to give him a hug, and it's like I don't know.
Okay.
He's storing all the integrity in his ass. That's where
maybe it's true.
You gotta spank it and mix it up, The
slapping sounds from Chappell right now is killing me. Oh my god. What have we done? Listen,
you started it with the pouch.
You started it with the pouch.
I gotta start. Yeah,
you started it with the pouch.
A little bit. Okay. All right.
Why were you so incredulous? Me? Not Jenny.
Listen, this is how I'm coping with like a terrible loss tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right,
Jenny. I found that I told you, Kirsten had brought up that Too Hot to Handle podcast that we did the other day.
We don't speak of that. We don't.
Apple transcribes it now. The old podcast, and so I saw the words and I was clutching. I was like, how do we still have jobs? Yeah.
Chappell and I have never said questionable things on any podcast ever. And we're really great.
All right, come back to me now. Come back. We're in the come back to the banker's temple.
I'm in the pouch, baby.
I'm in the pouch, baby.
Yeah.
I'm in the pouch now, baby.
All right. David, he knocks the 500K case off the board. It's down to 4 or 11. And he has a choice. He's like, well, I have 4 kids, but I'm going to go with number 11 instead.
He wants to get rid of it. I need that off the board. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Takes number 11 off the board. It's the $2.5 million.
Ooh.
But we get another offer, and Joe's laughing. The banker said something funny. The banker gives the offer to undo the first. What was the name of the guy from the first?
Luke, how dare you?
Yeah.
Get in the pouch.
Wow.
Well, undo Luke. We're going to have an even number on the board. $999,000 $258,999.
I'm gonna miss that dollar. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I thought it was fun when it was
It was
$1.
fun.
It was like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Yeah.
We need to find a way to get back there.
Yeah.
Someone needs to take the penny.
I kind of thought the banker had like an algorithm. Like I didn't know that the banker could like make the numbers be for like irony purposes.
She do what she want.
Banker isn't AI. She's
She's
out there doing what she wants.
Yeah. All right. So for $999,999, okay, much like earlier in the episode, very similar situation with just a couple of cases left, that David takes the deal.
Yeah. He wants to reclaim the number 18.
And he too had the $250 case?
Yeah, he had the $250 case. This is 2 in a row because I believe that's what CK had.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was the exact same amount.
Is that why they bookended this episode like that?
You know what? Yeah. Not worth it to me.
No.
Just for that symbolism?
Okay,
no thanks.
so everybody goes to hug David, and CK seems to be like the first to hug David. She says, "Get that devil out."
Because she knows what's up. She knows what's up. Parvati's jumping up and down like, yes, we did it. Because they know what's about to happen. Anybody with eyes knows what's about to happen. I was so miserable. I like David, and I was just like praying, like, please, just take out Dixon. It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
All right. Yeah.
CKS Will, do you want to admit anything, Dr. Will?
Yeah, this is where CK is like, she's just asking for trouble.
What does he say? I want to admit that you suck. Is that what he said?
That's literally what he said. Yeah.
She said, just that you suck. Got him.
Mans was a little salty. he was. I told y'all he wanted to win. I don't care what he says. He wanted to win, and he could see the the lights flashing before his eyes, or his light flashing before his eyes, or whatever. He could see like the walls caving in. He knew what time it was too.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, though, there was a point while David was still playing, I believe, or maybe it was after he made the good deal, and Dixon kind of leans to CK and asks if he's going home, and she's like, "Are you
dumb?
Like, what is wrong with you?
That's your best friend up there." So I don't know if Dixon is like just a paranoid fellow, or if like maybe the vibes were a little weird, and he was like there, or maybe I don't know, maybe he heard a little something that there was something going on.
He's the rest of us who are thinking, why wouldn't Will just play the banker? Like,
what's going on here?
Why am I in this situation where my best friend is about to choose? There has to be something else going on.
Okay. Well, David says, Dr. Will, that first off, he says that, right, if this is in the right order, that he says to Dixon, hey, when you got that $5 million case, you hired yourself a $5 million bodyguard.
It was the other way around, which was like, the but was the longer part. So it's like, as soon as he said but, we knew what it meant, because he said, I did make a deal with Dr. Will today, and everyone goes, oh shit. And then he's like, and that was the shorter statement, and he says, but Dixon, when you won that $5 million case, you employed a $5 million bodyguard. Sorry, brother, you're gone. And it's like, I love the line, like it was a good line, but it was like the minute he said the but, I knew the point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know how you need to like reorder the statements.
That Dr. Will could have done it.
Dr. Will probably could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he needed a take or two first. I don't know. Like,
can we take it from the top, please?
Okay, let's run it back.
What if I stand up here and he's down here when I say it? Did it work there?
But he's committed to good TV, and I appreciate that.
No one F's with the family, they say.
Yeah. Familia.
Y'all like the family?
Family's giving a little bit of the
y'all are the
friendship?
Night Owls team. Y'all, that's what y'all like. Y'all
the Night Owls.
Y'all are the Night Owls. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also just like, okay, they took a hit, and they're fine. And now they've adopted, I don't know what the relationship with CK is. She's like a stepdaughter that they're like, we will send you back home to your other family if you cross us and piss us off.
Don't you.
It is a weird family, but like they haven't really seen that much you know, like I don't know, they've gotten their way a lot and they've been safe a lot. So
I don't think Parvati's ever been vulnerable.
She's not been in a situation at all where she
episode 7. She's not, I think, been eligible to be eliminated once.
If Dr. Will wasn't here, we would be singing her praises so hard. But it's like, y'all just took out Dr. Will, man. Can I have a moment? We'll be back. Yeah. We got to talk about y'all next week, but can I just have a moment to grieve?
And that's why this was so like difficult because, you know, I love David. I love Will. And then I'm like, they're fighting. And I'm like why? I don't know. It was hard. You know, I can't even pick a side. It's just like, it's really difficult when they put, you know, a couple of legends and then they put other people on the cast that I love too. Like this has been a very difficult season because I'm like, I feel whiplash. Like, I don't know. It's a wild ride.
So Dr. Will says he's retiring from reality TV officially.
Threw my phone across the room. But I mean, what show are we waiting on him to come back and do? What like if he gonna?
Well, he doesn't seem to want to do the Traitors.
No, he doesn't want to do that.
He won't do House of Villains. What else could he do?
I think he was out of. I think he's out of shows. I think he ran out.
What I'm going to be doing is trying to think up a new show that either Dr. Will can be on or he can host.
Yeah.
Ooh, hosting a show would be interesting.
Well, didn't he have the in the lost files of you know, he had a hosting.
I heard that the Love Shack show that Will hosted is available on YouTube.
Like just like the one episode or whatever.
I believe 2.
Jenny's like the entire series.
Yeah.
Maybe I will be spending my time trying to think up the, you know, the revamp of the Love Shack.
The Love Shack.
And I don't know, because if we can't get him to be competing on reality TV again, why not host? I don't know. Yeah. Could be fun. Could be cute.
Will said he's never met a more self-righteous group of people.
He kind of ate a little bit on that one. There's been a lot of like, I don't know.
I think he lied. I remember Big Brother 2.
Yeah. Bunky.
Yeah.
I mean, Nicole, Hardy.
That was a long time ago. Memory.
People were like
the other people.
Right. They were literally like, all of y'all are so good. Like, we are the good people. That's why y'all keep keeping Will in the game because y'all are awful people. Because Will's awful. Like, Will, stop it. These people were a little sanctimonious. I will give you that. But I don't think they were you know.
I think in absence, you know, like that was many years ago.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't remember them that way. I think maybe.
Okay. So where do we go from here? Dondi, episode 7. We're down to only 7 people left.
Matter of fact, did he host the roundtable for BB19? Sir, you've met a lot of self-righteous people. let me stop you right there, okay?
Chappell's still doing the math. He's like,
this can't be it. Yeah, this cannot be. Rob, we're at the final 7, and it looks like, first of all, it does not feel like it.
Gosh.
It looks like you have the family on one side, Parvati, David, Dixon, and, you know, plus CK, right? The 4 of them. And I'd imagine that would put everybody else on the other side, which is Lachelle, Philip, and Letty. Letty does not seem like she's extremely aligned with Lachelle and Philip. To, you know, like she's never brought up in those conversations. Jenny's pointed it out a few times that like, hey, she wasn't named in the alliance that came after MG. So I don't know if there's any place for these people, the people that are not in the family, to go. Where do these people go at this point?
I mean, does the threat of the family unite the other people together enough? Is that possible?
It's only 3 of them.
I need to know more.
Is CK wasting her time taking out Philip?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
nothing against Philip. I'm just saying that the threat is David and Parvati.
Yeah. CK needs to look at the numbers at a certain point and see that like hitching her horse to Parvati and David at a certain point becomes not a great strategy for her. I think now that Will's out of the picture, obviously she eliminated Sael, which was good for her game. I think that she maybe, doesn't she should not be wanting to ride this out with the family down to 4. That is not a good place for her. But what's driving me crazy is that I just don't know what Lachelle is doing. And we know that she's keeping her name out of people's mouths. She's not on anyone's bad side. She's letting people think that she's auntie, but she's not. Like, I know that she has the capacity to be a killer, but she hasn't had to yet, right? And she hasn't really had to pick a side. And so I'm really hoping that we start to see what she wants here, because we haven't really gotten a lot of she talks in this episode about like, okay, everyone's kind of starting off at the beginning here, like alliances are different. And I'm like, okay, but what does that mean for you, girl? Like, who do you want out? What do you want to happen here? Who are your fighters? And like, so I really, really hope that we start to get some more insight on Lachelle's game here, because I think clearly Letty and Philip are together. They are the, they're united against the family. What is they need Lachelle. They need Lachelle at this point. And I don't know.
And I think she could be in a very bad spot potentially, because if I'm somebody who wants to target, like if I have the power to shoot at someone, this is the perfect person to use to make a deal. Like, I'll take out Lachelle and you keep me safe next round. Who's going to miss her? She's not in your alliance. I won't come after Philip. I won't come after Letty. Let me just take out Lachelle and then slide back into the background. And then you can go against the people who you think are targeting you. I'm going to prove to you that I don't want you out, because I'm going to take her out. She played a really good stealth game to this point. We have to acknowledge it, because that's literally how Jordan got through last time.
Yeah.
But I think she's running out of space. I think she needs some more shots going toward the family. I think that right now they're too strong, and you don't want to play against any of them except maybe Dixon in the final 2. I don't see a world, and I don't know what the challenge could be, but the challenge would have to be very odd, I think, if it's anything like last season, for Lachelle to beat maybe David in a challenge, right? Or even Parvati, who's super athletic. Lachelle has not been in the immune spot yet, I don't think. And so this is just based on her, her challenge performance. I mean, and so I would be worried if I was her about this. Maybe this is the time where she needs to win something and take a shot.
Okay, we'll see. All right, tomorrow we've got the interview with Sael. Be sure to check that out when you're subscribed to WeKnowDondi.com. Jenny, anything else on Dondi tonight?
I am in mourning, but I still love the show. David, I still love you, even though you...
well, you wanted to go in his pouch. I think he gets that.
Yeah, you did try to... You claimed to have ended Dr. Will's television career. Which I think, if anything, has only
You're just disappointed.
Fueled. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But I also understand. He made the right game move for him. Yeah. So, despite all the emotional blows, what a season of television that we're witnessing here. Every episode, even when it hurts, it's been a banger.
Yeah. It's better to have loved than lost. Chappell, any final thoughts?
Exactly.
Jenny, you want me to get in the pouch with you?
I'd feel safer. Like, I'd feel like,
yeah.
I
feel like it probably sees 2. I could get in the pouch.
Yeah.
No,
how cute would we look? Like, our heads popped out of this little pouch, and then David's just carrying us around.
Like, oh,
he's so cool. And then we're gonna go drink 10 beers together.
Yes. No, Rob, I don't really have much to add. I mean, we're definitely gonna ask Sael some hard-hitting questions, starting with, of course, that ass though. We're going to start there and see what she has to say about her comments, but also what was her perspective on the game. We're definitely going to ask her about Lachelle as well, because we got questions. And so tune in to our exit interview and see how that turns out.
Okay. All right. Jenny, what's coming up for you?
Rob, I will be spending my nights awake trying to come up with the next reality television show for Dr. Will to either host or perform, compete on. I don't know. That's what I'll be spending my time on. And otherwise, you can find me on social media at Jenny Autumn. And looking forward to seeing how the season plays out. It's like, I feel like it's flying by. I can't believe we're already down to 7, but it's been a ride.
Okay. And then Chappell, what exciting things are you working on?
Mary and I are talking about Extracted, and that's fun. Yes. On Fox, it is an unhinged show. And so you have 2 unhinged people talking about it. Mary is telling me all about her outdoor shenanigans growing up, making lean-tos out in the forest and being like, Chappell, I don't know about you, but did you grow up doing? I was like, no, Mary, I did not do this. The white shenanigans.
I thought you said making lean. I was like,
no, listen, now that
Mary's up to things that I did not know.
Mary's making lean-tos. We'll talk. But yeah, so check out Extracted. See what that coverage is like. It's a fun show. And we're talking about it here on We Know Scripted. We know realitytv.com. And then I'm all over the place. Recapkickback.com is where you can find me. Rob, you and I are about to we're almost done talking about Paradise on Nothing But Netflix.
Yeah, we've been hanging with Hulu, and we're talking about one of my favorite shows in a minute. It's called Paradise, and we just talked about episode 6 of Paradise. And if you haven't checked that out, very fun show. So I hope you enjoy that coverage. And we got everything else going on right here on RHAP.
Yeah, and on Recap Kickback, I got this Brant Steele that I'm doing, okay? It is the Black Cartoon Character Clash of 2025. We got all the Black cartoon characters in a Brant Steele. They're playing Survivor. We're simulating it on recapkickback.com on our YouTube page. See what Black cartoon character comes out on top. Gia, Isaiah, and I. We got all like a mixture of all the people. I got my own winner pick right now. I'm not going to spoil that for you, but yeah, you got to check that out this week on Recap Kickback.
When will they come out with the Dondi Brant Steele?
Oh, I can't wait. But then
they got every show.
You'd have to simulate the cases and simulate the challenge. I think it could be done.
It could
Someone
be done.
Can do that.
They have the technology.
They have technology. I don't know.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We love to hear what you have to say in the comments. We read them every Wednesday morning and see what you all are saying about this crazy recap of this wild show. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back to talk about episode 8 next week. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.